Hello, here's a quick tutorial about how to use Photopea, an online free editor. So I go to Google, type in Photopea, all one word, hit enter, and it brings it up here. You can see the logo that you can recognize there. Okay, so I click into that, and this is what I open. And what you might have is a box that you need to get rid of first that comes up, and there's a big white cross about here to cross off, and then another box that talks about cookies that you just need to accept to get into it. What you'll also notice on the right hand side that I've cropped out of my video here is a advert pane that keeps kind of just flashing up, but you can just ignore that while you're working. So to start, I'm going to open a file. So go to File, Open, and I'm going to start editing some of my letters. So just have a look. I'll edit this one. So open that. That's how it will appear. You've got the one layer there, the background layer. Make sure I click on that, and then I can start editing. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to rotate this S so it is the right way up. So some basic tools, basic shortcuts for you. If you hold Control on the keyboard, and you can use the minus and plus on the right hand side of your keyboard to zoom out and zoom in. So I'm going to just zoom out a little bit just so I can see when I flip the image round. So you can do rotation in two ways. You can use the image transform, and that gives you options to rotate 90 degrees clockwise, 90 degrees anti-clockwise, rotate 180 degrees. It also gives you flip horizontal and flip vertical, but you won't need those for now. So for now, all I need to do is rotate by 90 degrees anti-clockwise. And then you see. You can also rotate in a slightly different way if you go to Edit, Free Transform. That brings up a box around the outside, and that allows you to change the size of it and also rotate it. So if I was to change the size of it, what I would need to do is hover over one of these nodes. Now, what I don't want to do is I don't want to squish the image. I don't want to stretch it or squish it. So what I'm going to do is hover over there so you can see that the white arrow with the two ends, two arrows appears, and I'm going to hold Shift on the keyboard. Now what Shift does is it means that I can change the size of it without squishing or squashing the letter. Once I let go of the mouse, then let go of Shift on the keyboard. So to do a rotation, if you notice that I've moved my mouse to the corner over here, but outside of the letter, the cursor changes to a black double-ended arrow with a curve on it. If I click and grab, I can then rotate that round, and you'll notice at the top, just above where my arrow is now, it's reading the angle that I'm changing that at. Now I don't actually need to change this, but you may want to just adjust yours slightly. Once you're done, you press Enter on the keypad, and then the box disappears. So that's you out of that, and you can carry on editing. Now for this letter, I'm going to need to crop, so I'm going to use the fourth tool down, the crop tool here, click on that, and then draw a box around my letter. I want to try and crop out the next letter that's appearing here. Now what I'm trying to do when I'm editing my letters for this project is I'm trying to keep my crop box a similar kind of shape. Now some letters are going to be a little bit wider than others. Letters like M might be a little bit wider. So I'm trying to leave enough space for some of the bigger letters. So I'm happy with this. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to press Enter, and it crops there for you. Now you may want to do some minor adjustments. If I want to, I can go to Image Adjustments. I'm going to have a look at exposure. Now I'll grab the box so I can still see the letter, have it next to it. Then I'll have a bit of a play with the exposure. See what I can do to just boost the letter a little bit. Probably happy with that. Now, while I'm editing, what I want to do is I want to keep track of some of this. So I can then press Print Screen. So that will take a picture of my screen, and then I can put that into my presentation. So I can talk about the exposure change. And then you'd paste that into your presentation by pressing Control and V. And then you can crop that down. So you wouldn't need all of this outside. You could just crop it down so it just shows the letter and the exposure, the settings box for the exposure. When you're happy, then when you come back to this, press OK, and that'll go away, and that's that change done. You can also have a look at some of the other adjustments as well. So I might just change a bit of the vibrance, just boost a little bit of saturation. Brings in a little bit more yellow around the outside there. So again, bring that box down, press print screen on my keyboard, pop over to my work, press Control V to paste it in. So I've got that settings that I can talk about in my work. So I'm happy with that as my letter. I'm ready to save. Now you can change your file name here if you double click. I'm just going to call it S and press OK. So that's not saving it, that's just renaming it. If I want to save, I've got two options. I've got more than two options, but there's two that you'll probably end up using most. You can use export as, which is the majority of things you're going to use, which is exporting as a JPEG. So I'll do that. What that does is it brings up a close-up of your letter, and it's talking about quality here. 70% will do. When I hit save, you'll notice it downloads, and that goes into my downloads folder. So I'll just show you that. My downloads folder there, and there is my letter. If you don't rename it, it will just have the name that it was there initially. If you wanted to, then you could long click into there and then name the letter if you want. But I've already done that, so that's fine. The other thing you could do is if you were still editing and you had other things going on and you wanted to come back to this as an editable file, you could save as a PSD document, which is a Photoshop document. And that will again do exactly the same. It will just download down to here. So I don't need to do that right now, but that's what you can do for your basic edits. Thank you.